Hi, I'm Camilla, and this is Kang, and we're the 5 resellers. And recently we made a video about going full-time as resellers, what it takes, just generally. But in this video, we thought we would explore what it would take for one of us specifically to go full-time reselling. For us, what we were thinking about was our salary, the health insurance cost, so what it would take to be on one person's health insurance instead of another's, and what extra cost that would be, the dental insurance and the vision insurance extra cost, and as well as the lost opportunity for side hustle money. So because we had previously been reselling as a side hustle, that was in addition to all that other income that we had. We kind of lose out on that when you go full time. You also need to kind of replace that income as well.
Yeah, unless you decide to do more reselling after your 8 hours, that's something to consider as well.
Right. So it all kind of fits into what you need to make reselling in total. So it's combined what you were making in reselling, what you were making in your regular job, because you're losing that regular job, but you don't also want to lose the previous income that you had. For us, for one of us to go full time, the total amount that we would need to replace would be around $68,000. So that is a lot of money. That is kind of like, wow, that is a big mountain to scale, it seems like.
You might also consider if you had a 401k match or any other retirement related things like a pension that, you're leaving and you have to make up for this in terms of putting in more time to make that extra money so that you can put into your own retirement account. So those are all considerations, very important. So yeah, check out that video that we made. It's a really helpful calculator and a lot of other factors. I think it's comprehensive of the mental aspects and the financial aspects that you need to consider. And if you're ever curious about how much you need to sell to make $100,000, that's in there too with that calculator. So it's a really nice tool.
So if you are considering becoming a full-time reseller, that would be a video to check out. For us, we've already kind of thought about it. We've looked at our own calculator, and we've decided that I'm going to become a full-time reseller. Actually, I already am, starting last week. And we've thought it over, we've talked it through, and decided that this is going to be the best move for us. Now we're going to go into some of our own personal considerations. So beyond just the kind of general theoretical, but what it actually means for me to be a full-time reseller and what benefits we get from that, and then what things I personally am losing out on by making this decision.
So why don't we talk about some of the things that you are looking forward to?
So the number one thing I'm looking forward to is just freedom of time. So being able to, wake up when I want to, being able to take a nap when I want to, being able to, stop for lunch when I want to do that, and, being able to go to the thrift stores on a weekday, during the day when they're not super crowded. Like we source a lot at the Goodwill bins, the Goodwill outlet, and when you only go on the weekends, it's super crowded. And so to be able to go on a weekday and, just be there with pretty much other resellers, not necessarily, the big crowd of side hustle people. So that's going to be really nice to be able to do that. And some of our other thrift stores have like sales on weekdays. So to be able to go for that, I get to watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts while I'm doing my work. And I feel like, I'm not like goofing off or whatever, One other benefit is that I don't have to go to meetings, I don't have to be in on department meetings or weekly meetings or whatever, listening to what other people are doing with their work or, going on and on about stuff.
One of the biggest issues plaguing the corporate world are pointless meetings, and I know it.
Part of that is that as a full-time reseller, I'm my own boss. I get to, make how my day is going to look. I get to set my own goals of, what are the goals that I'm trying to meet. And then I get to kind of grade myself on whether I meet those goals. I'm not looking to someone else to tell me whether I'm doing a good job or not. That it comes from within my own self-reflection, mastery of it. That is a benefit for me. I feel like that is a strength that I have, that I'm able to do that. And I really actually enjoy being my own boss. I love being bossy. So.
Yeah, she is very good at it. So she will definitely be good at being her own boss.
Yeah. And then another benefit is, just being able to save on gas. So not leaving the house every day, only leaving the house, a couple days a week to go thrifting versus having to go on a commute every single day to work.
Gas is expensive, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. And then, kind of related to that is that being able to respond to curb alerts on Facebook Marketplace to be able to find, cheap things or free things out on the curb, to be able to, see those listings and go right away, which you can't do if you have a full-time job. Like you're like, You can't just be like, oh, sorry, gotta leave this meeting, you know. Someone has a free couch out on the curb, I gotta go, you know. So definitely being able to do that. And along with that, being able to have flexibility with travel. Like we can decide on, you know, we're gonna leave on a Tuesday and come back on a Friday or something.
Right.
And, you know, just plan that and not have to try to be working with 2 different PTO schedules and, you know, different responsibilities that we have at our jobs.
Right. It's only me now having to work out the PTO and all that.
Exactly. And then another kind of small thing, but something that I like really have been looking forward to is having a fresh lunch each day, like being able to make lunch fresh, you know, and just eat it right then rather than, you know, reheating something or having like a cold lunch or something like that. Another benefit is that you're able to be there for friends and family when they need you. You know, people can call me at any time and I'm able to pick up. Not that I always do. I still am like bad at texting and things, but you can, you know, if someone is having a crisis or something or going through something, you can, you know, be there for them. And again, this fits in with flexibility with travel. You know, like if I wanted to go to visit, you know, my family or some of my friends without Kang, I could. And then, you know, with being at home, you are able to accomplish some of your household chores. Like today I was doing laundry and I did the dishes during the day.
Because actually, I'm the one who usually does the dishes. So now it's more 50-50.
Lies.
Are you kidding?
Also, you know, not having to feel like you have to do all of those household tasks, you know, in the evenings or on the weekends. And so then you can leave your evenings and weekends a little bit more free to do other things that you like.
Yeah, we have a bad habit of forgetting to do the laundry at night, and we're like, oh my gosh, we got to put it into the dryer.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but you can do that pretty much any time throughout the day. You just put it in, and then you walk away, but you're still here to be able to watch over it, you know?
Right. Part of the actual work of reselling that I really enjoy is the clear-cut tasks that you have. You know, like you have photographing, you have listing, you have inventory, and you have shipping, you know, and with each of those things, there's kind of like a set way that you can do it. You know, you kind of know, you know, when you've completed the task, you've completed the task.
Right.
And there's a little bit of like doing it worse or better, but like in a job like the one that I'm leaving, there was a lot more kind of range of ability and creativity that you had to employ. And while there is still creativity and thought that goes into reselling, it's a lot more kind of once you find the answer or once you kind of fill out kind of these open spaces, then you're getting your item out to people and people are able to purchase it. And so that part of reselling I really enjoy, where it feels like I do the task and it's complete and I feel like it is complete and I'm not thinking, oh, I could have done it this way or that way, or, you know, kind of looking back and seeing all the ways that I didn't do a good job on it, you know, or the ways that I could have, that project or whatever could have more potential. That's something that I really enjoy about reselling. And then having that kind of gratification throughout the day, throughout the week of the sales actually coming in. And so you feel like your work is actually accomplishing something because you can see kind of in real time the money that it's making you.
Right. When you're working on projects in a corporate setting or other, you might not ever see the fruits of your labor, you know?
Right.
In a very real sense, reselling allows you to do that. It's so gratifying.
Right. Because it really is like the things that you're doing, the work that you're doing, you know, the photographs, the listing and all of that, like is connected to the actual money that you're making rather than someone paying you for your ideas and your skills.
Yeah. It's pretty underrated, you know, the mental aspects of all of this is like, you don't have to stress about, you know, hitting deadlines if you don't need to. You don't have to worry about someone judging your work unless, you know, you're worrying about returns or gifts. But it's relatively low compared to a boss telling you, you need to meet this deadline, you need to do that, you messed up here. And the criticality of all that really can take a toll on someone's mental health. So that's a pretty big consideration too. I don't know that a lot of people talk about mental health in terms of, you know, the work that you do, but it's really something that you need to think about.
To me, it seems like reselling is very much black and white. I know that there are some areas of gray that, you know, deciding what you're going to pick up and deciding how you know, format your listings and what you include. Yes, you know, you make decisions upon those things, but beyond that, there's not very much kind of gray area as much as there might be in, like, say, a corporate setting where you're working on projects. And where I was in my work, it was a lot of, you know, kind of my own decisions, my own creativity, inputting, you know, these different programs and these different projects. To have that taken away is really nice, because then it feels like it's not so much like overwhelming. How am I going to do this? What's going to happen? You know, all these different, you know, factors and consequences that could come from something as large as that. Those are all some of the benefits.
Yeah.
Those
are all the great things. You know?
Yeah, those are all the good things. But there are some trade-offs. You know, it's not all sunshine and butterflies. There are things that I'm giving up by becoming a full-time reseller. Some of those are kind of the guaranteed, you know, paid time off, sick days. You know, like with paid time off, I'm getting paid even though I'm not working. With reselling, if you aren't putting in the listings and aren't doing the parts of reselling, then you're not necessarily making as much money. Your work kind of pauses, you know. Even though you might make sales while you're gone, you're kind of halting some of the progress of your work. Where if you're in an office setting, there are other people who are kind of doing some of your work while you're away. Another kind of downside of reselling full-time is that you never like leave the office for the day.
Yeah, the office.
So
because we have our operations here in our house.
Right, exactly. So maybe if you had like a storage unit or an office space, yeah, you would leave the office. But for us, we don't have that.
Yeah.
For us, it's kind of like it's right here. It's looking at us, you know, in the evening. We're looking at the mess that all of our inventory is and all of that. And it's like cluttering up our space, you know. And so it's kind of hard to get away from it, and because you're always thinking about like, oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that, I could be making this better. And so not having it kind of out of sight, out of mind is kind of tough. And then another thing is that I don't have coworkers, you know, I'm by myself. Maybe if Kang became a full-time reseller, that would change, but I think I'm really going to miss, you know, the chit chat with my coworkers of, you know, them stopping by my office or other people in my office building, you know, coming to stop by and talk with me, and just the friendships that I made through that. It's just kind of different to be at home, you're on your computer, and yes, you can turn on a YouTube video. Yes, you can, you know, have a podcast or talk on the phone with someone, but it's not quite the same as like those informal kind of loose connections that you have with people. They say that those are actually really important, those kind of loose connections, those acquaintance relationships that you have with people. They're a really underrated, you know, relationship in your life.
But she's got you guys, right?
And then something small is that there's no more free food. So at my office, there was often, you know, people
I don't
would bring
often get
in
free food, but she does apparently.
People would often bring in cookies or things, or they would have things left over from meetings, and, you know, my coworkers are bringing things, and then occasionally we would have like staff lunch. You know, our whole staff would get together and have lunch all together, and so I'm going to be missing out on that.
I think there's a community aspect of something like that where it's really nice to receive a small token of appreciation and things like that. So something to consider as well.
And then the last downside that we thought of, at least, is increased heat and AC and in total electricity.
Lights, you know, all of that stuff.
All of that, because, you know, like during the day we weren't here, we would turn our heat off, we turn our AC off, and all of our lights would be off. Versus if I'm home all day, then the lights might be on.
She leaves so many lights on.
It's
so good that we have LEDs.
I try to be really mindful of it, but it's tough. I'm a very forgetful person. But like, you know, turning the heat on and things like that, all of that adds up. So that is definitely a downside of being
you
home.
really need to consider all these financial aspects. I think, you know, the loss of salary, loss of other benefits. We have put this into real numbers. And if you want to do that with your own numbers, we put that calculator in that other video. We'll put it in the description as well. But it's free. We'll let you use it and decide for yourself.
Exactly. So for us, it made sense. You know, the benefits outweighed the negatives, and, you know, we feel like we can get to that amount that we need to replace. And the other thing that for us was a factor was that even though that was how much money we were making, that wasn't how much money we need to be making necessarily, because our expenses are a lot lower than our income. And we've done that purposefully so that we could make moves like this, so that we could have the freedom to be able to decide, you know, okay, I don't want to do my job anymore, I want to do something else. And to have that kind of space to be able to explore something like this. That's something definitely to think about if you're thinking about going full-time and reselling, or just making another sort of move in your life, is that one way that you can make that easier is to lower your expenses.
I think the final thought that we want to leave you with is that even though we talked about this whole salary and total compensation thing, plus the side hustle that she used to do as a side hustle, right, reselling, we probably don't need her to do the side hustle anymore. It's one of those things where if we make things much more efficient, we can actually get everything done within the day. And, she can have a great salary and not have to worry about having any extra side hustle time, dedicated to reselling. We don't necessarily want to be working 60 hours each week, which is what we've been doing for over a year. It just takes a toll on you.
Exactly. So we're trying to scale back the amount that we're working by, working smarter rather than just working longer. And so that's part of going full-time, is to be able to improve those skills, those processes, and all of that, so that we aren't, in the evening scrambling to try to get all this done, but to be able to take our time to do it well. Right. The first time around. So thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a comment down below of what you would say like the benefit or the downside of full-time reselling would be, some of the considerations that you've taken into account, or some of the things that you've thought about that maybe we didn't mention. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear some other thoughts. These are just things that we have personally thought about, but we'd love to hear some other ideas and all of that. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that this is a video that people should see and that people enjoyed. And if you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing, especially if you are interested in full-time reselling content, because that is what we will be doing from here on out. And so we would just love to have you as part of our subscriber community.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Bye. We're having a baby.
Yeah, we're having a baby. Guess what it is? Is it a girl or a boy? But really, I was just pushing my belly out. So don't spill the beans. Just leave it between us.
Exactly.
The true fans who watch the entire video.
Exactly.
We're so grateful for you guys. We're so excited to be parents.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Not actually, I'm pregnant. Not
not me.
If that wasn't clear, I don't know if anyone would be confused.
We're having a baby.
Just joking. Yeah.
As you might imagine, we're reading a lot of baby books and stuff. If you want to send us a really good baby book, we'll put our P.O. box in the description. Send us a really informational one. We've got a lot to learn. This is our first time being parents, so we're going to need a lot of help.
I thought when you said a baby book, I thought you meant like a book for the baby.
Or that. Yeah, that too. We're learning, and maybe a baby book that we can read to our baby.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, if you find any in the thrift store.
Yeah, it would be really great if it was from the thrift store.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Yeah, bye.
I think that it's a real shame that she no longer gets paid to poop. I really love pooping at work. It's like I get to sit down, scroll through the phone, and just poop. And I get paid for it. If you think about a 20-minute poop times 100 days, 2,000 minutes, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So do the math.
You're ridiculous.
Well, I don't know if you take 20-minute poops, but I do.